Good evening, everybody. It's the End of No podcast coming to you on this nice Sunday, going into Memorial Day. I'm your boy T Chef, my right hand man, Jaycutta.
What's happening?
And man, it's good to be back.
Oh yeah.
we done had a little bit of everything go on, man.
Yeah.
We missed a pretty good episode. Cause I got stomach bug or something, man. And had to get through that. And you went on vacation. It's kind of hard for me to do a show without you. So, so we had to put a pause on that. It just feels good to be back, in this space and getting to, talk about what we need, what we feel like talking about. And we were going through some things that we wanted to talk about, and this is one that really I wanted to do at the beginning of the month because it is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we gonna sneak it in here before the month end, but it's something that I think it's taken enough bad things to happen for it to finally get its due. Like it's now a subject matter that I see a lot of people attuned to that we didn't normally see in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really never heard, mental health awareness pre-COVID, and then it seems like after COVID, it just picked up, and really I don't think probably a lot of people hadn't even experienced that strain of that mental pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Because once everything shut down and everybody was like, there was nowhere to go. There was, you was literally probably just stuck at home if you wasn't one of those essential workers. And it probably wreaked havoc on your brain as to what you do with yourself all day.
Yeah.
Because we so used to working, so that work take the brunt of the day. Now it's okay. What I'm gonna do? How am I going to make the necessary money that I need to keep my household going, to feed the kids, to get gas, and grocery, and all this. You know what I mean? So, like I say, pre-COVID, the only time I really ever heard anything about mental health was somebody, maybe joking back in the day, or an older person, not necessarily an older person, but somebody back in the neighborhood who might have had some kind of issue, that type of thing. But not as far as people taking mental health days and all that kind of stuff. I had never heard of it.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay.
You had to be crazy or
Just
do
being
some crazy things.
Hey, you're right. Somebody said
they had to be like, you crazy as hell. Well, hold on, but you might want to get checked out.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Not knowing that the person telling you that needed to be checked out too.
Right.
Because what you were saying on the COVID deal, it made people stop and have to deal with themselves.
Yeah.
That's when they started seeing the level of mental health is poor.
Right.
They were like, boy, without me being busy, well, I'm a terrible ass person.
Right.
I'm sorry, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you realize how terrible you are when you have to honestly deal with yourself.
Right. And I say, for me, I think the more alarming thing was what was going on with the kids. Because like I say, sometimes, kids get more love at school than they do at home. So now, they ain't able to go to school. I can't see my friends. You might have, you probably can still text them if you have the, the number or whatever, but it wasn't like, going to school and you hanging out with your people. Now you can't.
Yeah, they crush that interaction.
You can't see nobody, and I remember that distinctly because my son, he was in the 8th grade, and they were doing they had to go to the school and do a drive-by farewell. So they were in their cars and was waving, bye to their peers because nobody could get out to interact. You know what I mean? I'm thinking like, dang, that's crazy. we don't know what we encountered during our school life, but we made it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now these kids are having to have this cut off, and then you seeing it, affect, not just my child, but the kids, around us. Like, man, this is, bananas.
Yeah.
And
That was a big blow to social skills.
yes,
It was a huge blow to communication and social skills. 'Cause, it almost made you, like, especially within families, it almost made you tired of each other. Because you weren't used to being around each other. That much in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not used to that. You like, bye. Go in your room somewhere. Like, just go back there in the back somewhere.
Right.
Have a seat now. Yeah.
And through my just researching and I remember distinctly a few shows in when we had Lucy come through, and she was telling us, because that's in her line, she's in line with those kids, and seeing how different things affect. You have to have you got to have your mental health together, and that depression leads into your mental health. So or your sadness. So sadness starts off, in long term it becomes depression, and then in turn it's going to affect your mental health. And some people, mental health is triggered by, who they interact with socially. So they remove themselves in order to guard against the triggers that'll lead them down that rabbit hole, in a sense. And I think, especially like I say, when COVID did come through, it might in turn been an escape for some folks, because now I can legally not be around you in order to protect myself.
Yeah.
So it's just different aspects to it, and just seeing how, if you don't take care of it or don't realize it, how it can spiral out of control.
Right.
I've had or listened to. I had a talk with my oldest brother, and he was telling me about a kid, that was right in their hometown. I think the kid might have been 15, 16 years old, and getting bullied. Bullies when we was coming up was, I might take the lunch money, this. Now kids getting cyberbullied. This is something that somebody's writing about you online, but it goes to so many people that you crushing kids with words, and they're feeling so bad about themselves that they end up taking their life. That hurts.
Technology did one thing. When they were small, they attached them to the technology. Therefore, now the technology gauged their standards, it gauged their thinking, it had all of that stuff in the mix. Now, on these for them, so they can easily be destroyed through these. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like the attachment, because we were attached to family members, friends, whatever. Because that's how we had to interact. So we couldn't pick this up and see it. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
Got the world at the fingertips.
We weren't doing that. We were like, let's see this cat at the house on the house phone.
Right.
Until we got older and got
the bike and rolled down there to see what you
right. But the cell phone was so big, if you did have one, you right here with it. Hey, what up, plow? Shining down that way, but it was like
$8 a minute.
You see what I'm saying? That was some G money, Dino Brown type thing.
Right.
But real deal, like it changed. We were built different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because we had ties, because it was almost like we were pushed into going outside to play.
Yeah.
We were pushed into finding friends. We were pushed into this, that, and the other. So when a bully came, it wasn't like we was like, oh, we're gonna throw all the cards in because I got a bully. it was like, wow, you got me right now, but if you slip though,
I'm
almost cash you in, player. So we were built a little different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You got stuff though.
Yeah. I'm gonna take this L today. But before you gonna know I was here. You know what I'm saying? So eventually you gonna stop messing with me. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But this generation, you gotta remember, they were just taught so different. They put so many bounds and closed up the hands and wrists of the parents to not be able to equip them. And I'm not just saying beating the kids, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about being able to equip your child for this world, for what they're about to run into.
Right. And then what's crazy is though, man, like, I'm just tripping off of how much the schools are really taking up for the bully. You get what I'm saying? It's almost like the bully bullied them.
Right.
And the kids just, they stuck. They don't know no way out. Cause you feel like this, if I say I'm scared, I look like a chicken. I'm you know, punkish. I don't,
Right,
you know
right,
what I
right.
mean? You know,
Soft and all that, yeah.
so you just get into that bounds where for us, you know, it's just like you said earlier, I might take this L today, but like I said, you gonna know I'm here. You get what I'm saying? We wasn't so much scared, and I think that's just like with the technology. Now, there's people stopping to record a fight.
Right.
Now, we ain't have none of that.
If you were there,
saw
you
it,
didn't
saw
know.
it.
That
Right.
was it.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, everybody's scared. Man, I don't want to take that, so, you know,
Yeah.
this is my way out. Or they either gonna hurt themselves or go to the extreme to hurt the bully,
Yeah.
which ain't gonna do nothing to get you locked up.
Okay. So either way you lose.
So either way you lose.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I think we just gonna have to start opening up more channels for these, especially for these kids. I ain't knocking that, ain't leaving out the adults. You know,
This stuff starts at
but-
home.
Yeah, but these kids got to learn how to talk and how to cope.
You got to pull them out of this technology.
You know, because we can't keep losing kids over what somebody wrote about them online.
Right.
Who gives a shit?
Right.
People talk about people every day. There's people in the same house talk about each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's people that's hanging right now, supposed to be the best of friends that talk about each other.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're gonna talk regardless, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? You could be the straight A student who just trying to get to the next level. You know what they're gonna say? Oh, she thinks she's better than everybody. Oh, you know what I'm saying? She bougie. She this, she that.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? That ain't no reason for you to hurt yourself.
Yeah. That's really where we are. Because instead of, one thing I learned about our people, there's a small percentage of us that will ask, hey man, how'd you do? How'd you come up? You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And that'll give you a moment to then talk to them like, well, this is what I had to do, or this is the way I approached it. And that may help them add something to what they do. You know what I'm saying? But when you have people who won't take that moment to say, how did you do it, instead of saying, oh, you think you something because you did it. No, I did what I needed to do to get it. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, if you want to know, I'll share it with you.
Gotcha.
But all of that extra you can keep. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna be doing all the hating and all the crap and causing all the foolishness, so you keep your negative energy to yourself. Point about it is, that's why I noticed a lot of times solid people attract solid people.
Right.
Because see, the people that ain't about nothing, that ain't worth nothing, they fall to the wayside anyway. They thin their way out of your life. We just, a lot of times we may hold on to a couple of them too long, but they thin themselves out of our lives. We just have to let it happen, because the people that are equipped to be in your life and add something to your life will be able to keep up with the pace of your life. You see what I'm saying? They'll be able to celebrate you when you're moving forward. They'll be able to do things that will raise your mental health instead of do things that chip away.
Right.
For some people, this is all they do.
They wake up with it.
Yeah, that's all they do. When they get on the scene, that's all they're doing is chopping your mental health down. That's their thing.
Right.
Because they don't realize how to get to the next level themselves. So they love company where they are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You know one of them things on misery loves company.
They really
I
want
can't
company.
go nowhere. I'm stuck, so I want you right here.
I gotta need you there.
And if you here, I gotta do everything to knock you down here.
That's right. So I can have something to talk about.
Yeah. You know, and that's man. That's,
The thing I was
it's
looking
just
up
hard.
something when you brought that mental health thing.
Mhm.
I googled it and it said the Mental Health Awareness Month theme is turn awareness into action.
Gotcha.
And it was just basically like when you have friends you hadn't heard from, call them, Joe.
Yeah.
You have people that you normally see, you hadn't seen them, reach out to them. Because it may be, sometimes when stuff happens to you, you get into a mental place to where you don't know who to trust to reach out to.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
Without your business being
right.
over there.
So a lot of times when a person reaches out to you, it shows a genuine side. So you like, oh, I can rock with this guy right here. Okay,
Right.
okay, good looking out.
Right.
You know, you don't even have to go into your details, but just sometimes just knowing another person cares if you survive or not does a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For your
Yeah.
mental health, it lifts you up.
And sometimes what we don't forget, don't tend to remember is it's not always about you giving advice.
Right.
It just
Sometimes
needs
just
somebody
listen.
just need to vent.
Come on.
That's it.
Come on with it.
And even in their venting, they gonna figure it out. You get what I'm saying? It don't require you to say anything, but just sit there.
Yep.
And that's something. Don't let the power of you not having something to say on the subject stop you from helping your friend by just listening.
Right.
You know, with my people, they don't. Man, look at here. If it hit me at 3 a.m., you can get a text from me, or you can get an inbox. Hey man, yeah, all right, you good. You get what I'm saying? That's the way I move. You know, and I'm real tuned into how people move. And when I see, you know, I don't see you for a minute or something, I'm just gonna reach out. Hey man, you all right? You know what I mean? Because sometimes, like I say, we get so prideful. You know what I mean? That we don't want to say, I need help.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It's failure.
exactly. We equated those two. And if I ask you that I need help, then I fail. And it ain't that. It's sometimes that you make me see something that I just can't see.
Right.
You get, and if I need your eye, hey man, come look at this.
Right.
Tell me what you see. Maybe I just don't see it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So that's the way it works. It's no different than, you know, I look at my food business, and I know how I want certain things done.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, you know, I have to turn to my wife and my kids. Tell me what you see, because maybe I just don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? And I have to be real with that feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And it ain't meant to sit to destroy me, it's sent to make me better. Okay? But it's something that I had to learn. You know, I gravitate toward my darkest hours. My darkest hours as a teenager. And you gotta understand, you in high school, you know, you see your boys, they doing their thing, this, that, and the other, and you're wanting to maybe entertain certain young lady. She ain't trying to hear you. You know what I'm saying? She ain't trying to, you know what I mean? Not that she necessarily being mean or nasty, you just ain't.
You're not on the radar.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, it'll do something for you in turn, you know.
Yeah.
I was in that dark place, and I know what it felt like. Lucky for me, I had a real angel looking out for me, and one of my teachers. that helped me get through, you know, actually learning who I was, man. And that changed the whole, you know, from 11th grade on, it changed the whole way I looked at it. You know, and I really didn't have any more of those ill type feelings until I got sick in 2020, and you know, it was scary. I mean, I basically was dead. The only people that reached out, and you was one of them because you came by. You actually cut my hair at my house because I couldn't get out. But and I had a couple more friends that came out of the hospital, came by the house. But I think it hurt me to see, you know, the people that I would have took the bullet for, not do it.
Yeah.
So it kind of put me in a spot like I was mad. It did affect me mentally, and then I got over it. You get what I'm saying? I didn't hold on to it. I held on to it, like you say, we hold on to people's situations sometimes longer than we should. I did. I admit to it, but then it just slowly, you know, went away. Because, and I'll never forget it. And Regina Little told me, she said, "You're not mad at what did or didn't get done." She said, "What you're mad at is you wouldn't have done it." You get what I'm saying? Like, you know what you would have done in that situation, and because they didn't do it, that's what you're mad at. And then it made sense. You get what I'm saying? It's like, bam, she right. You know what I mean? So you gotta do. I understand people protecting their peace. You got to do that part so you can function,
Right.
because that mental wear down, if you don't do anything to alleviate that or learn how to deal with it, it is going to eat you alive.
Oh yeah, it's gonna
Okay?
wear.
It's gonna wear on you, and the people closest to you, gonna feel it. They gonna feel the wrath from it if you don't know how to deal with it. It's just like I always say, you're gonna end up bleeding on the people that didn't cut you because you don't know how to handle it. And so, whatever you have to do to maintain your mental health, if you got to disconnect with certain people, you just got to disconnect from them. Right? It is what it is. If it was meant to be, y'all link up again. You know what I mean? But ain't nothing gonna be set in your way that is not gonna be some type of lesson. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Negative or positive, it's a lesson in everything and everybody everything that you go through and everybody you meet. You just got to put them in the right category.
Right.
And know how to deal with it.
Right.
And like I say, and one thing I always want to say is, man, there is no shame in asking for help.
Right.
At all. Well, I don't know why we got into this. I need to shame this person because they asked for help. And I understand you don't want your business out there, but you got at least one person that you can sit and talk to. And you ain't got to worry about your business being on the internet or being across the way. You know what I mean? It floating out there. So that's something that I think you really have to learn.
I want to share something.
Okay.
That was I also looked up here. Mental health is crucial for overall well-being, impacting how individuals think, feel, and act. So it's not just about the absence of mental illness, but also about thriving emotionally, psychologically, and socially. Strong mental health is vital to building relationships, handling stress, making decisions, and contributing to society. Neglecting mental health can lead to various issues, including anxiety, depression, and burnout. So, the reason why I read this is because we can get a piece of mental health dealt with and feel like we won. But we forget to necessarily deal with our emotions. We forget to deal with the social aspect of it, you know, because loneliness is real, you know what I'm saying, and everyone can't deal. And the psychological, because the psychological to me is the most important one, because your psychological health is going to balance everything.
Right.
The psychological is going to make sure that your emotions, your social interactions, all that stuff meets on the same plane that it's supposed to. Because a lot of times we're this way when we're out and we're this way when we're home. So it's like you got to be careful that you're not using a social platform of mental health just as a mask, so that no one knows what's actually going on with you, and you go home and you hit the bottom.
Right.
You know, that's where you have a lot of people who drink a lot by themselves. See, it's totally different when you party and socialize drinking. It's a big difference than when you take a bottle home with you. You know what I'm saying? And you're sitting there and now you're contemplating your life, dealing with this spirit in this bottle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or you dealing with this bag of green here, or you dealing with this bag of white over here, or whatever you do, or you dealing with a big plate full of food, or whatever you do to deal with your situation. The thing we gotta realize is if you don't seek for a balance in your life, because you're not gonna conquer everything. You're just not. That's not how it goes. Some things you have to just work through and live through. So, especially dealing with people, because you can never change people. So some of the things you're gonna have to be able to let roll off your back and not even care about. But that comes from having a sturdy psychological awareness in your mind. Like, this is really not worth my energy. You gotta be able to say that to situations.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times that'll, you know what I'm saying, help maintain our mental health. If we're able to just say, you know what, why ain't even getting into that? I don't even have anything for that. Because we have to set our standards. Not only, see, I learned something. People feel like as long as they set their financial standards straight, that they're good, but you're not. Because you can have great financial standards and be achieving some things in your finances, but your mind is trash. See, anybody can follow formulas, anybody can follow rules, anybody can follow something to set up to make money. You can do that. But how many people know that the rich people, a lot of them go home and are terrible. Terrible to themselves, terrible to their families, terrible to their friends, because they're not happy. They may have the finances, but they don't have that balance. They don't have no kind of psychological health, no kind of emotional health and stuff like that. So it's like, this month right here is overlooked a lot because it's easy to overlook what you don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You got to have those hard conversations.
They'll have a parade over something silly.
It's just as important.
But this is it.
As any other conversation. To be
This
honest.
is it, yeah. I mean, because you know all the pressure fathers be under, mothers be under, grandparents are under. Just the whole entire thing that's going on right now. It's a new wave of stress that's sweeping across our community, man. You know what I'm saying? And if we don't gain that balance, start looking deeper within ourselves, do some self-inventory, not telling what somebody else did to you, what they said to you, you're gonna have to get over it, first of all.
Yeah, you don't have to move past it.
It is what it is. It can be terrible, it can be something harsh, and it may take a while to do, but you're gonna have to get over it, because if you don't get over it, your life is now theirs. Because whatever and whoever they have
rule over you, they already
you probably be on PlayStation.
Yes, sir.
Because they got you.
They know every time they say something to you,
Yes, sir.
it's gonna do something to you.
Can't press your button.
Press your button.
It's like, say something and I press your button. Say something else and I press. Right. You mad, ain't you? You know what I'm saying?
And I was thinking about that when I was leaving the house to come over here. And, you know, I'm not gonna put it on. I don't care for political shit at all, really. You know, we can argue that all day. I ain't trying to deal with bigots and racism. I ain't gonna do nothing. But understand this: with this new, whatever has come in this year, and people are literally struggling financially, and I've seen it over the last right at 5 months, how all this stuff is just it's really wearing a toll on people.
Yeah.
And people, it's mothers.
Amen to that.
Mothers that I know that they feel like they ain't even worthy of being called mom because they ain't able to do what they used to do.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Now it's a real life struggle just getting the groceries.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So learn to be kind. I'm gonna say that
Mm-hmm.
because we really don't know what everybody's facing.
Mm-hmm.
We all juggling groceries.
Mm-hmm.
We juggling grocery, medical, and the gas.
Yeah.
Them three. Okay, that's just the start.
That's the start.
And you ain't even talking about housing, clothing.
Oh yeah, you got none of that.
That's just all your five, and you stuck in the house. We ain't talking about going in.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just really start to look out for your neighbor. It's okay to be, trust me, it's okay to be selfish. In the sense of you looking out for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if you can do a little bit to say, check on your neighbor, just to make sure they cool. Do that.
Yeah.
You see these young folks out here? Y'all all right? Good?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Because it don't take long.
It don't take much.
Don't take long. Just say, man, you all right? You good? And you never know. You might get a full story. You might get a, yeah, I'm straight.
Yeah.
You might get a, well, I'm glad you asked me, though, but you know what I'm saying?
You
Because
might
it's
get a
been
full-
tough. Yeah.
full conversation.
You know what I'm saying? But either way, be ready.
Right. And then that may be that conversation that gets them out of what they into.
Yeah.
Or at least gets them thinking of the way out.
And what you were saying a second ago, as far as this inflation deal, it's forcing us to replace money with genuine love and concern like we used to have. When we were coming up, now I can say this for me, my mom didn't have a lot of money. And my father wasn't staying with us. This is right before he passed, I believe. But he wasn't even there. So my mom understood something. If I show you I love you, you won't fall apart. We may not have the most, you may not be able to get all these things that you see other people have. But I learned that she loved me enough to give me a foundation. Now one day my hustle's gonna kick in and I'm gonna get those things.
Right.
But until then, she showed me how genuine love, like you were saying, being kind, just doing what you can for a person goes so much further than me just looking at you for things. Me looking at for what you can do for me. Like that's what I see you as. You're a coupon or you're a credit card walking around. When you get to the point to where you remove that from your relationship. Now we didn't do it on purpose because we would have liked some nice things, but we just couldn't afford it. And it was just to the point in my mind, I'm like, okay, you can be upset, you can cry about this shit, or you can just wait your turn. Because you're gonna learn how to make money. You're gonna learn how to live better. You're gonna learn these things. So it's like I had to place in my mind to where I'm not gonna go and just do some dumb stuff because my mom showed me that this love is more important. Being genuinely concerned about me was more important. Showing me that there's more than Nike and Polo, different things. There's more to it than that. It's like that's nice if you can, but you don't have to have it. You know what I'm saying? In order to be a decent person, you don't have to have it. In order to have morals and character, you don't have to have it. So it's like that was important to me, and now I see that's not, because it's absolutely flip-flop to where money shows concern, money shows love. If you're not buying me nothing, you don't care about me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff has changed. Now, I'm not saying all parents are like that. I'm not saying all kids are like that. Some kids are very simple, don't need a whole lot,
Right.
but love and that
Right.
concern, just to show that you care about them. But we need to go back to when we pull money out of our hearts and minds. So we have to pull that money out We got to understand what money's for. See, once you get past the stability of money, you start chasing it by any means necessary. Once you lose the value of money, you lose your character, your standards, your morals, your soul, all that stuff's gone. So then now, you look at your mental health, you can look at your money and tell what your mental health is. Because you placed your mental health on the money.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
We took all the old school values away. All the things, you know what I'm saying, we were
Right.
raised on. We was like, well, I don't have to do that now.
Trash it all for the green.
You feel me? I'm just gonna what? Grind. Hustle. We were just talking to service about this today, about grinding. Because it takes your mind off of what you actually need to be doing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we miss our purpose because we're chasing money. You know what I'm saying? Make your money, but don't chase it to the point to where you have tunnel vision and you're blinded from because your purpose is still in the mix.
So your purpose is in what people don't understand.
You know what I'm
is the riches you're looking for, if that's what you're looking for, is tied into your purpose. Chase the purpose, and then the paper will follow.
That's right.
You get what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
It's just what it is. You know,
that helps your mental health too.
Exactly.
Keeps you in that lane, man. It gives you a sense of, okay, I'm accomplishing some stuff.
Right.
And sometimes that's all we need, man.
That's all
it's
we
for
need.
something to go our way.
Just
Let something fall for you. Give me one. You know what I'm saying? I'll get through the rest.
And that's just funny, you know, that it failed, and, you know, that conversation failed like that because it is true. And I you know, I was cooking for an event yesterday, and anybody that knows me know, you know, I take my food game serious because it's one thing that if I done it every day and I didn't get paid for it, I still be perfectly fine. That's what I love to do.
Mm-hmm.
My purpose has always been to take care of my community and feed people that couldn't feed themselves. And yesterday didn't go good. It was not a great sales day. It wasn't any of that. You know, and instead of being, because normally I'm frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
But for that one instance in time, I sat my wife and my granddaughter and I said, okay, T, did you do everything to make this event do like you normally do? And I had to be real with myself. Yeah, it pissed me off, you know, in the sense that I know I could have done better, but at the same time, who's to blame? That's you.
Yeah.
That's the life that you asked for. And because you wasn't prepared,
Mm-hmm.
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now you got to go back and check yourself. So I'm sitting at the house, you know, last night, and I'm going through my books and trying to get it in my head. Okay, T, what you need to do better? What you got to come up with this concept. Make sure you know, the trailer's ready to move. Make sure you got everything on the trailer. All this checklist and all this kind of stuff. And then stuff, I just text my wife and I say, look, I appreciate you for pushing to be better.
Mm-hmm.
That's my purpose. I will continue to chase this purpose for as long as I'm able to breathe, buddy. Trust me, I will. But I found my riches, and it ain't about the paper. It's about the purpose. I found my riches, what I like to do, what I feel when I'm out there either serving people, you know, or out there just when I'm cooking for the football game. I'm at peace, man. It's something that I can't describe. You know what I mean? I'm okay. So that my riches is built in the purpose.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes you just got to sit down with yourself and find that purpose to pull your mental out of the hole that it's in.
Yeah.
If you find your purpose and you chase it relentlessly, I guarantee you gonna feel better.
Yeah.
We all gonna fail. Failure part of it, the success story. You gonna have to fail. It's how you bounce back from the failure.
Yeah.
You can't just let that one failure be all done. You know, son, do you know how many bottles of barbecue sauce and R&D I went through money shelling out of my pocket that I knew I wasn't gonna get back, just so I could formulate something that somebody would actually eat. You get what I'm saying? Some people just say, "Oh yeah, I just done it all. I done it all to the top of my dome, and I ain't, you know." They lying.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? They lying. You got to go in their kitchen and mix this with that and see, oh man, listen, and I've done that. All that come out of my pocket. And yeah, you could have been like, oh, you know, I could have saved and gave something else to my kids, but I'm looking bigger than that. I'm looking for something to give my grandchildren children.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that brought me out of that hole, that mental hole, to, you know, you get to at least level. And then anything above that is a blessing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
Let's start minimizing our problems instead of maximizing them.
right.
Minimizing and make them what they are. Because really and truly, your small problems are stronger than large problems in our life. Because big problems are stationary, but small problems are reoccurring. You're gonna always see that small problem, always run across another small problem, small thing. Those small things are the ones that really, really tear us up. It's just like being in a room, say for instance, where we are right now. And it's just a giant mosquito going around the room. It just hits you every once in a while, then it fly off. You don't even see him. So you're looking around the room for him. He tear you off again. Boom. You like, wow, where he coming from? What? And so that's kind of how small problems are. But see, big problems are like that door, or like this. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, I know I got to turn the knob before I approach it. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't go through.
Right.
Or I know if I don't open that before I get over there, it's gonna be a problem.
Right.
So big things you already account for, but your small problems are the ones that are affecting your mental health, because those are the things that hit you daily. Especially when you have relationships with people that aren't working. You may be okay on some of your bills here or there, but you have like, trying to think of the easiest way to say it. You have so many different obstacles, and when there should be a place of peace. Because most people, I'm gonna tell you, man, they won't tell you out loud, but they go home and have obstacles, and they can't go home and rest. And so if you can't rest out here in the world, can't go home and rest, what you gonna do? You see what I'm saying? You run out. You run out because you're gonna be tired sometime in there. So fatigue leads to bad decisions.
Oh, every time.
You know what I'm saying?
Time.
So once all that takes effect, it just makes it's a formula for bad mental health. And it's a lot of stuff, especially we as men feel like we can overcome it. We feel like we can beat it. We feel like, you know, we're untouchable in a lot of areas. But fellas, we're not. And throw away this man's supposed to be solid is whatever, because you got to remember the attacks that have been in this place, especially in our community, have been aimed at us. So black men should be running to mental health, running, because we need to get that stuff dealt with and adjusted so that we could go back to having the proper position in our community. See, that's why we so quick to cuss everybody out and deal with it like that, because you don't have any space in your mind. You got to clear that junk out. See, until we get our mental health under control, it's hard for us to even run our houses.
Yeah.
It's hard for us to even be good brothers,
Right.
good nephews, good sons, good fathers, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Good grandparents. It's hard to do that when your mental health is poor. But see, when you won't admit it, it's even worse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's where you have an illusion of winning,
Yeah.
but you're losing
Yeah.
at the same. You know what I'm saying? All at the same time.
I man,
You know what I mean?
this is something, you know, that's the problem. Everybody looks to be embarrassed.
Right.
You know, I'm scared to say it because what if somebody else gonna think? Well, here goes something on the shelf.
Right.
Okay. And I'm as transparent as anybody. People gonna take what I say as whatever. Yeah. If we get a couple jokes, we get a couple jokes. But it's just like what you just said. We don't want to admit what's clogging our minds.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those is being an addiction. I had an addiction. And people, now it wasn't alcohol, and it wasn't drugs. It was porn.
Mm-hmm.
Going to work in the morning.
Wide open. Wide open.
You get what I'm saying? I mean, honestly, you know, and then when I said, okay, my mind is filled. I can't concentrate on everything else that I want to do because I have an addiction. I don't know nobody to talk to about it. Because people gonna look at you like, you know, what's wrong, you know, da. And then I just said to myself, I literally got up, sat on the side of the bed, and told God, you know, I don't want this to consume my brain at all. I got too much work to do, and this is just something I need to sit down. You know what I mean? And literally, he took it away. He took it away. You get what I'm saying? And the pressure, the load off your shoulder, like, dang, you know, I should have been in this, man. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And how much better I felt, you know, and to the point, you know, like I said, I talked to my wife, and I just told her, I said, it was something for me. I had to put this down.
Yeah.
I couldn't deal with it no more because, like I say, it was holding me up from using that mental space to handle everything else I needed to handle.
Yeah.
And like I say, I'm transparent with it. I'm grown enough to take the backlash or whatever to come from it, but you know, it is what it is. You know, I'm human. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I you know.
Shit, man. People just, I mean, it's not so much of the judgment call. It's just the fact that what you don't deal with is eventually going to show. It's just like a person that's been shot, walking around with a white dress shirt on, but they haven't been to the hospital. I'm good, but you leaking. Why? Because I can see it coming through your shirt. Now, you may still be walking around doing your job, but dude, you're leaking. So that's like anything that we're dealing with internally will eventually seep through and it will be seen on the outside.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Especially by the people who pay attention to how you move, the people that pay attention to your energy, the folks that pay attention to your life, your living. They're gonna see it. And they, you know, what now, at that point, whether they approach you about it or whether they sit back and be like, dang, right, that's a shame. It becomes a little bit kind of edgy, you know what I mean? Because you don't know how they're going to come at you. Or,
you know what? That's
even when you bring it forward, you know, you don't know how the response is going to be.
Man, you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you have to deal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It is something that I decided to share with. It ain't like I had to do it. You know what I mean?
You can start it on your own and just and
I could just told everybody, you know what? I was drinking all the time. You know what?
Right.
Your people who listen to this, nah, you couldn't have been doing that. Not driving.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You would have seen that.
Yeah, you would have seen. You would have been. You know, that would have been an accident waiting to happen. So,
but
you know,
I smell like it.
Right. But you know, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with sharing that. You know, it is what it is, and like I say, once I talk to, the main person I need to talk to, and you move on.
That's why I said self-evaluation, man.
Use that energy
That's what you did.
to get other things done.
Yeah.
And
Self-evaluation.
I tell you what, man, it'll get you in the right spot. And, but it's just like, I'm saying that to say this, don't let the addictions or just your mental space where you feel like ain't nobody listening, no, man, pull you somebody to the side, solid.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you don't do nothing say, hey, man, I just need to talk. And if you vent, you ain't got to worry about no coming back to you. But sometimes if you just vent, man, that's like an escape. It's gonna clear you out and hopefully get you on the road where you can see your way out of what you into.
Right. Right. That's true.
Yeah, it's work. And like you say, it's self-evaluating. You know what's holding you back.
Right.
Now just try to clear out that space and go and do exactly what you want to do.
But that goes with the theme for this year's mental health awareness. Mental health month. It says, turning awareness into action. You know what I'm saying? Become aware of what the problem is. You know what I'm saying? And the root, more importantly than the problem, the root of the problem. See, a lot of times, the root of the problem end up being our family, girlfriends, boyfriends, kids. A lot of that stuff, a lot of those people are the root of your mental health problems. Now, this is where you have to make a decision. Now, this is very, very, very important. You have to make a decision, is my life more important than their happiness? You gotta make that decision, because I can continue to make you happy and I can continue to suffer until I'm no more. Or do I say, look, I can't do this. It's really, really hurting me. You know what I'm saying? And see, since it's hurting me so much, we have to understand that guess what? I have to cause a break in the action. So I can't any longer let things just get at me like that. You know what I'm saying? You have to draw the line.
Yeah.
And like I say, I don't know, the whole kit caboodle of it is, don't rely on somebody else to fix your mental health.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Don't rely on that. Don't wait on that. I don't care how close you've been with people. I don't care how tight you've been throughout life. I don't care about none of that. This is one of the things that is a personal thing. This is showing how much you care about yourself.
Yep.
Because everybody talks about, I love me some me. No, you don't. Because if you don't take care of your mental health, you don't love yourself. It's like anything else that we do that is damaging to us.
Right.
If we don't address these things, we don't care about ourselves. We just don't. Because everything is in your action. I don't care what you tell me. What I see you do and move as, that's what you are. You know what I'm saying? Because your thoughts dictate your movements. So as you think, that's who you really are. Because no one forced you to make that decision. You made that because that's who you are. So we have to stop arguing with people and fussing with people, trying to get people to change and do this and do that. No, leave them where they are, because that's who they are.
Yep.
Now, allow them to deal with themselves.
Right.
You deal with you. And then maybe y'all can meet later at a different place, you know what I'm saying, mentally. Y'all can actually, come together on some things. But we're so keyed in on making you change right this second, right now. Do what I'm saying, be what I want you to be, this, that, and the other. That's not your job. That's not up to you.
No.
You know what I'm saying? If you made a commitment to be with this person, you made a commitment to walk through this stuff with this person also. So we have to be careful what we commit to and who we commit to and why.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's not at the same place.
Right.
You know what I mean? So sometimes you might have to fall back and go through some things with them.
Even when you're in relationship, whatever, your happiness and your mental health are your responsibility.
That's right. That's right.
You get what I'm saying?
That's
you
right.
cannot let somebody else determine any part of that, because if they do, like you said, when you said earlier, if I know I can do this, and it's gonna get on your nerves.
Oh,
Or it's
yeah.
gonna drive you to a certain point. I'm gonna do that out of meanness if I ain't got no love for you.
Right.
Just because I'm with you don't mean I love you now.
Right.
You know, so okay.
Yeah.
I got you. I know how to set your whole day off. Finna throw your whole day in the trash.
In
You ain't even 7 o'clock
In trash.
in the morning. Done.
Boy, it can happen.
It can happen.
So
It can
easy.
happen. So
Yeah.
take your mental health and your happiness and learn to self-evaluate.
Yeah.
And when you see something ain't right or something is just not where you want it to be, then you make the necessary changes for you. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because at the end of life, at the end of the day, it's your life.
Yeah.
And you know when you ain't running right. You know it.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody gotta tell you. You know.
Right.
You know. So you gotta make those changes. Hey, if I can do it, I'm the most stubborn person on the block. Anybody. That's the way I feel.
Yeah. You know, just make sure that if you don't want to, or either if you don't understand how to attack mental health, just understand one thing, that make sure that you add to a person's life versus taking away. Same way with yourself. Make sure that you're adding to your life instead of taking away. And if you use that small formula, it will increase your mental health, it will increase your relationships, it will increase your aspect on life to a level you didn't think you could achieve. Make sure that your decisions and your thoughts are adding to something or not, and not taking away from it. Because when you begin to take away from everything that's around you, you become the common denominator known as the problem. So there's no more pointing to anyone else. There is no more, oh, it's their fault, oh, they did it. Nah, you're the common denominator in the whole situation. You know what I'm saying? So now you have to pull yourself back and look at you. Make sure that mirror shot only shows you and no one else. You know what I'm saying? So we got to learn, like you said earlier, I liked it. You said we got to learn how to just be kind. It's free. It don't cost a dime not to cause a person problems.
Right.
If you come into my shop, man, and you come to get a cut, stopping by, just talk junk, whatever the case may be, guess what? You get the same energy from me that you got last time. I don't care what I'm going through at home, I'm giving out the same energy because you can't help me with what I'm dealing with. You can't stop what I'm dealing with.
True.
So there's no need of me dragging you into what I'm dealing with. I'm still going, what up, brother? What's happening, man? Hey, man, good, out of fact.
Right.
I still care about your family, even though I'm going through something on my end. That don't mean I turn into a terrible person just because I have things going on. We have to build that strength line to where we can hold that stuff up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And still be you daily, because you're gonna have to. That's the only thing that's gonna get you through. Is to really be true to yourself. If you have bad days, be quiet. A lot of times being quiet gets you through bad days. You know why? Because that's the less times you got to talk about what's wrong with you. Sometimes if you just be quiet and fall back, have some thought time to yourself. Mow your stuff over. Like, all right, so okay, this is what I went wrong here, right here. Okay, so now what I got to do is go right here. Okay, and I'm gonna fix this. So if I fix that, that's definitely gonna fix this right here. So see, when we have time to do that, that's why it's so important, man, to have some type of break in your day. People always ask me, why do you plan a lunchtime? Because I need to unplug from y'all. Good, bad, or indifferent. I have to unplug from you because for the simple fact, I don't live for you. I accommodate you, but I live for me.
Right.
And my people. So it's like you have to unplug in order to be charged up to come back and give that A1 service, A1 attitude that you know you're known for. So but you have to take care of that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a cell phone. You see your cell phone getting down to 40-something%, plug it in. Don't wait till it's at 3 and you like, wow, well, you gotta charge it. Why?
Nope.
Right.
Now you're stranded.
You one video away from being stranded on your own cell phone. You feel? So that's what like we have to do preventive maintenance, man. Try to see things coming. Like you were saying earlier, look for signs. You know what I'm saying? Amongst each other, man. Look, be your brother's keeper for real. We do a lot of cliche stuff as black people, man. Stop that. Stop being cliche. If you're gonna be fake, get off around folk. Find you some fake people to be around. Because there's too many fake people ruining real people. We gotta stop doing this to each other. We gotta stop. Everyone doesn't want a mask on. Some people like the face the way it is. Somebody like, they like their own face. Don't need a mask. So this is the thing. We have to stop putting our mess on other people. That's why I said self-examination. That's number one. Self-examination. Get yourself in front of yourself. You know what I mean? And find out what you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't, you stand a chance of ruining another person.
Easy.
You're sowing bad seeds, man. You're putting bad energy out. You're doing everything that you shouldn't be because you're hurting. Hurt people hurt people. So you have to kind of pull yourself back before you do some things that you can't fix. Because when words get out and get on people, they're on them.
Yeah.
You can't pull those words back.
No.
Because regardless of the fact of how nice you may be from that point forward, they know the depth that you can't go and you can't hurt them.
You can't cut.
You know what I'm saying? So that's just my little mental footnote, man, to my people, man. Love y'all, man. Want us to get better, period.
Yes, sir.
By whatever means we need to. Let's get better.
Yes, sir.
Understand your value, your worth. You're worth something today. I need you to understand that. You're worth more than anything you put your hands on. You're worth more than anything that you may have birthed. You're worth more than anything that you may have seen. It's not equal to your value. Okay? Take care of yourself. Understand that people need you. You're needed out here. You have a purpose. Stop cutting yourself off before the purpose is fulfilled. You need to be here for that. So take care of your mind. Each morning you get up, if you can think clearly when you wake up in the morning, guess what? Say thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Most. I appreciate you allowing me to wake up today with a good mind. Not mad about everything. Not dealing with all this and that. Thank you for some clarity this morning. Thank you for a good sunshine morning. I can just look around. You know what I'm saying? It's just the small things. That's why I say when we start with the small things, we can handle the big ones. All right?
No problem.
Got anything?
Oh, man. We got some things coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to move our vendor fair. But we were gonna do it next month. Then I got a couple of people who were gonna chime in and get a table and realize it was the same weekend as most people Juneteenth celebrations. So we had to push it to July. Looks like it'll be, I want to say July the 24th maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't sure. I'm gonna have to look back at that date. So I put all the information on the Facebook page, and when we get a link up on Eventbrite, we can get your tables and all that. And then we got a couple episodes that's coming up. The game show night, I'm ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming up. Then we're gonna get Tanyelle back in here, financial advisor. Get her back in here for episode.
Get your money right.
Get your money right. And the episode that I wanted to do, but ended up getting sick, was with my homegirl, Mel Ivory from Closed Door Conversations podcast.
Closed Door.
So we gonna get it all lined back up. We might have to make a trip to Columbia to record it, but we gonna get it done. And just keep rocking with us, man. We gonna keep being consistent. And we gonna make this thing do what it's supposed to do. Like I said, just keep in tune with us. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube, and we gonna try to get Podbean and Patreon and everything else online. You can catch us on Fanbase. It's a lot of ways you can get a hold to us, and And if you know me and Josh person, just reach out. You guys say our numbers or whatever, but we're gonna keep this thing moving. Like I said, we don't look at numbers. I don't look at numbers and get depressed about it. That type of deal. I didn't get in it for the numbers. I got into it to be effective and purposeful in what we're doing, and that's what we're gonna keep on doing. You got anything else for me?
No, that about wraps it up for me. Like I say, understand the importance of mental health, man. Stop playing. Stop playing, because we're getting older. Things are getting real. We're losing people. Man, shout out to the alumni of Berea that just passed. Just man, like, wow. It's crazy. Because you don't know.
Nope.
Shout out to Brownie, man. We hadn't seen you much since school, but lovely person, man. Always upbeat, man. Beautiful smile, man. Always brought that energy to you. So, man, just a shout out to her family, man. Sister San and all the rest of the family, man. We're praying for y'all, man. Y'all keep your heads up. Understand the Father makes no mistakes, even though we don't understand it. But just like say, stay in touch with each other. Reach out to each other. And stop taking things so personal, okay? We got to mend our community again. And that's going to help our mental health as well, us getting back together, okay? So, just wanted to kind of say that.
Okay.
Love y'all.
Love y'all, man, and we'll get y'all next week.
Sounds good.
Peace.